Yo, what's up everyone? It's Execution99 here with another episode of Hit the Sticks. Thank you for joining me tonight, whether you may be joining me live, whether you may be joining me on the video on demand. I do apologize for anybody who may have been waiting for my 8 o'clock Pacific start time, as there was a family event this evening, so I wasn't able to start my stream up at that time. You can always check out my Twitter, AlanMurphy408. And it also should be shown on my Twitch channel as well. My Twitter feed, I'm sorry, let me get my words straight. My Twitter feed should be available on my Twitch channel. So, anyways, I will be on here for the next couple hours or so, doing some more Tier 4 grinding. So I will, as I always do, let's actually go ahead and get started, see if there are any hell tides going on currently. There are not. Oh wait, there is. And it just started, so it might be worth going and checking out a hell tide for a little bit. So let's go ahead and head on over. Now, as I have mentioned before, I don't use any third-party resources or anything, so I do not have the maps, so I do not know where the chest of mysteries are going to be spawning. I like to just look around and run around until I find them. Of course, the big news of the day is there was the dev stream earlier today regarding Diablo 4, where they announced the season as well as seasonal mechanics. Now, I wasn't able to check out the whole video, so I don't know everything, but I do know it has been set. We now have an official date, which is July 20th. Actually, that's a little bit unfortunate for me, as I will be taking a family vacation on the 22nd, I think it is, so I will be missing some of the early days of Season 1. I mean, I guess I'll be able to play for a day or two to get started, but yeah, otherwise I'm going to miss out some of the early days of the season. So that's going to suck a little bit, but, you know, first world problems. The firstiest of world problems, honestly. So it is what it is. I will, you know, just accept it for what it is. But once I get back, I'll be able to, you know, go pretty hard on it until Starfield comes out, which is basically my plan, that I will be here in Diablo 4 with the season until Starfield comes out, and then that game is going to take me away for what I imagine will be a long, long time. And apparently there is going to be 6 new uniques and 7 new legendary aspects, which I've heard some disappointment regarding because it seems pretty light. People saying that's only about 1 per class. Well, 5 classes, so that's going to be 1 unique per class, and I guess 1 left over, and then 1 legendary per class, and then 2 left over, or however they plan to do it. I don't know. I'm not sure if they announced that in the stream today or not, if they announced any specifics about those legendaries. And then something about, I guess, hearts that are going to be an addition to gems. it seems like. The gyms, it seems like, from what I could tell, will take the place of gems. Did I say the gyms will take the place of gems? The hearts, or whatever they're called, the malignant hearts, will take the place of gems. And give certain stats and abilities and stuff. So I would have to look into a little bit more to be able to give an opinion on it. It doesn't seem to be a whole ton of stuff, though. But I am of the mindset of quality over quantity. So, again, not knowing if specifics have been given that I just haven't seen yet, but I'll have to wait to see what those hearts actually are, what those aspects and uniques actually are before I really give an opinion on it, because they might be amazing, unique, and legendaries that really make it worth it, even though there's not a lot of them. I don't know yet. Or maybe it's not a lot and it all sucks and it's kind of a worthless season. I don't know. I'll just have to see. But it does seem pretty light, especially when you have things like Diablo 2 Resurrected that give us pretty big game mechanics, like the Sunder Charms, and Terror Zones and things like that are, you know, old, huge mechanics. So it does seem kind of weird that an old game like Diablo 2 is kind of getting more content in their seasons than Diablo 4 is getting. But again, we'll have to see how it shakes out. I will do some more research into what the reveals are with the legendaries, with the uniques, with the malignant parts, and see if I can form a more in-depth opinion on them. What are those? Nope, no ancestrals. Why is there a cooldown on the freaking horse? otherwise, I am looking forward to Season 1. Despite the fact that I'm going to miss a few days of it. I am looking forward to Season 1. I had never been a Seasons player before. I remember my old roommate used to play Diablo 3 Seasons all the time, and I thought it was ridiculous. Like, why do you want to keep creating new characters over and over again? That's a waste of time. I had my one character, or I had more than one, but I had my main characters that I leveled up, and it's like, this is what I want to play. I want to keep pushing these guys and seeing how high they can get. Blah, 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 blah. But it was actually with Diablo 2 Resurrected, when I started playing for the first time, when I started playing Seasons for the first time, I should say. And I was like, you know what, this is actually really fun. And now I'm a fan of season content. I am a fan of battle passes, as bad as that might be, with the way people not wrongly view microtransactions and stuff. See, which one is this? Heavy armor, or weapons, so I can't get that yet. I do like battle passes. I have paid for some battle passes in the past. Technically, I have paid for this battle pass because I got the deluxe edition, which gives me the first season battle pass. I don't have the 20 skips, but I do have the battle pass, and I am looking forward to it. I am looking forward to Seasons. I don't know if it's just a meme at this point, or if people really are like, just in shock that there's seasons and restarts. I hope that it's just a meme at this point. When I'm seeing it on Reddit and Facebook and everything, it's like every day posts like, oh my god, we have to restart. Why do we have to restart? I'm guessing that it's just a meme at this point. But the meme came from somewhere, that someplace somewhere people are complaining about the fact that seasons require a restart, and you know what, I think that's the right decision to do the restart. It's actually kind of weird to me when I play games that don't have a seasonal restart, and you just keep going on and on and on with characters that have already been fully built up to the max and everything. I think it's great. Well, for one, it's not required, because for anybody that isn't aware, for those who might not actually be trolling, you don't lose your characters when the season starts. Your characters that you made non-seasonally stay in the Eternal Realm, and any characters that you do make for seasons will go to the Eternal Realm at the end of the season, so you lose nothing. It's just that it's the seasonal competition, it's the leaderboards or the battle pass or whatever you want to call it. You play through the seasonal content and you earn rewards, and then after the season, those rewards then go to the Eternal Realm. Your character that you leveled up goes to the Eternal Realm. You lose nothing. And the restart is necessary because it puts everybody back on the even playing field, which is how a season should be. Which is why when characters aren't reset for seasons in certain games, I'm just kind of like, wait, what? Now, having done some of those seasons, I get it. Like, for example, Fallout 76. I recently went back to Fallout 76 and was playing through some of their seasonal content, and that doesn't require a character restart. And it was a little bit weird for me at first. I have to kind of get used to it. It's like, wait, I'm starting a new season, but I don't have to start a new character. And I get it, because of the way the seasons work in that game, it is a little bit different. But I like the seasonal resets. I'm looking forward to the seasons in this game. And I will be there on July 20th, even if I'm only there for a day or two before I have to, before I can actually continue on. But I'll be looking forward to it. This is a light weaponry. Before I get that, I want to see what this chest is, just to make sure. And as I'm looking at my chat, I would like to welcome my lovely, wonderful wife to the I'm losing my words, to the stream tonight. Thank you for joining me, my beautiful, wonderful wife. Get you a wife who not only accepts your gaming habits, but actively supports them as well. And in return for doing that, also make sure that you know how to devote time to your wonderful wife as well. And that's a huge reason why, you know, I've stated earlier in on this channel that streaming, gaming is a hobby for me, and streaming is an addition to that. I don't want to turn playing games into a job. I hate it when I play a game and it turns into a job. Nothing turns me off of a game faster than having it turn into a job where I feel like I have to log on at a certain time and to do a certain thing. And that's one reason why I've pulled back from ESO so much, because being a trial leader, it was tough to have to be there at a certain time every week and have that time devoted and dedicated to the game. And I don't want my gaming habits to turn into that. I want it to remain for fun, that I'm playing for fun. And my stream is an extension of that. It's a journal of sorts to document my gameplay experience and how my journey through the game, whether it's an RPG and the story of my character as they grow and build in the world, or if it's a sports game and, you know, the evolution of my franchise that I'm taking over and how I build a team over a number of years, or if it's, you know, WWE 2K and I'm doing a universe or a My GM and, you know, booking the WWE, whatever that might be. I want gaming to remain a hobby, not a job. And so on this channel, you're going to find a variety of games. I'm not going to be the Diablo streamer. I'm not going to be the Starfield streamer. I'm not going to be the NBA 2K streamer. I'm going to be all of those things. And honestly, I may lose some of my potential audience because of that. But if streaming isn't fun, if it's being turned into a job, like, why are you even doing it if it's not fun? So hopefully I can build a community of like-minded individuals who appreciate gaming as a leisure, as a hobby. But that's, you know, going back to what started this whole thing, is that's the whole other reason for it, is gaming should never interfere with your family and social lives either. I know for a lot of people, gaming can be an escape from depression, anxiety, all those sorts of things, and I'm somebody who suffers from those things myself. But I think it's important to have a balance. I absolutely am very gamer positive. Playing games, spending time with it, it's an important hobby to me, one I'm not willing to give up and sacrifice, but it can't be the only thing that you do. It can't be the only thing that I do. There has to be balance to it. And so that's another reason why, you know, tonight my stream started late, because there were other things that were coming up that have to be more important than gaming. That's why I'm going to miss out on some of the early days of the season. Other things are going to come up that are going to be more important than that. Why my stream is going to be not dedicated to a single game, but dedicated to gaming as leisure and as a hobby, because for me, there's more important things than having the maximum audience for maximum monetization, but rather having a place where I can share my gaming experiences for myself, for my friends, and for anybody else who might be interested. And boom goes the dynamite. Can't get the heavy weaponry one yet. Actually, I don't want this one because I can go get the heavy weaponry one now. You know, for a speech and theater major who does theater professionally, you would think I would be a little bit better at not slurring my words every time I do a damn stream. I get all tongue twisted. And I'm not even saying difficult things. I do it to myself. Oh, that was an awesome drop. know all that stuff I was talking about earlier about, you know, keeping gaming fun and not turning it into a job. That also kind of goes hand in hand with what I've been talking about some of the recent streams about the meta and how I don't do it, how I don't think it's necessary. And, you know, I don't want to study the meta and try to figure out what it is and chase it, because that's part of turning the game into a job. And, you know, one of the places where I first learned about, like, the meta or whatever was my time playing Magic the Gathering. I remember when I would play it with, you know, my close friends and stuff, we were always coming up with our own decks ideas, putting together our own combos and everything, and I loved that. And then I found a community who was a little bit like heavier into Magic than my friends and I were, like in terms of like being deeper into the community and stuff. And I got in with that group and I really enjoyed it. But one thing that I noticed is some people were always going online to find their decks. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing going online for decks for? You're just playing what somebody else told you to play. Like, isn't that the fun of the game, is coming up with your own deck combinations on your own and blah blah blah. And you know, it just, I don't know, it really rubbed me the wrong way that people were just going online to find whatever decks a tournament champion was using and then just blindly copying that. And to me, that's not where the fun was. The fun was looking at my cards and finding out what I had and how certain cards might work together to make good combos and stuff. And, you know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like I came up with some pretty good combos and some pretty good decks. And I've taken my deck to a tournament, and it's nothing that has had success in a tournament, and, you know, probably wouldn't or anything, but it was damn fun. And I did enjoy taking it to tournaments just to see where my deck held up against, you know, those sorts of decks and competitors and everything. And I learned, but then I also realized that the whole like tournament community was a lot different than just playing Magic for fun. And I honestly didn't really like it because it's like the game is the fun of is being sucked out of the game in the name of having the most efficient deck that can win the game in 1 or 2 turns. And I'm like, I don't want to win the game in 1 or 2 turns, because what's the point of playing a game that only lasts 1 or 2 turns? I've had games where I win in, you know, 2 or 3 turns or whatever, and I'm like, this wasn't fun. I didn't get to really get invested in the game or anything. It was just over. And so, I don't know. And I've just kind of taken that whole philosophy to, you know, video games and stuff too, with RPGs and how I build my characters. It's like, why do I want a meta build that's just going to clear it out a little bit faster? Like, yeah, I want to have a good deck or a good character. I want to be able to clear the content. You know, using Diablo 4 as an example, I want to be able to clear nightmare dungeons all the way as high as I can go, and right now I've been able to get up to 37. Like, I want to be able to clear nightmare dungeons as high as I can go. I want to have a build that can, you know, defeat the Elden Beast in Elden Ring. You know, I want to have a character that can beat Hell Bale in Diablo 2 and can do Pits runs and Chaos Sanctuary runs and Worldstone Keep runs and all that stuff. I want to have a character that can do all that. Well, what's the point of just slapping on Enigma, teleporting through the whole damn room, and burning down the boss in 3.2 seconds? Like, what was fun about that? Like, sure, maybe I got more gear quicker, but to do what? More gear quicker to clear the content even faster and play the game even less. And then those people wonder why, oh, how come the game is boring? Because you made it boring because you built in such a way that you're just steamrolling the content and you're not even playing the content. The content is over in 15 seconds, and then you go back and do it again and you wonder why it's boring. And I don't know, I just never found the appeal to that. Like, especially in a game like Diablo. Like, in order to start doing these dungeon runs and boss runs and stuff to get all that gear, you have to clear the game, which means you don't need that gear to clear the game, so you're getting better gear to clear content that you already cleared without the gear, and you're obsessing over getting the better gear. I don't know. It's a weird thing because I am an RPG gamer. I am playing Diablo 4 in-game right now. That's what my stream has been the entire time that I've been doing it these past couple weeks. And I am looking for newer gear, better stats, you know, all that stuff to make my character better. But it's also like, it doesn't have to be the best. I mean, you can look at my bar right now, and what's missing? I don't have a single bone skill. I don't have corpse tendrils. I don't have blood mist. Those are all skills that, you know, if you go read a necromancer build guide online for Diablo 4, they're going to tell you these are must-haves. You have to have these skills in order to have your efficient build. I think the quote-unquote meta is Decrepify, blood mist, bone spear, and corpse tendrils. I believe that's the quote-unquote meta for Necromancer right now. I could be wrong, I could be a little bit off on it or whatever, but I mean, I'm doing it. Do I have some examples on my stream of dying in content or not clearing content? Absolutely. I have failed a lot of Nightmare Dungeons. I've done it live on this channel. You can still watch it on the video on demand. And I talk about it in my build guides. I don't try to, you know, sugarcoat it or anything like that. But I can always come back and recover and get it done. And that's the fun part for me, is figuring out how to regroup, come back, and get it done. And I don't know, I just feel like I would be doing a disservice to myself if I just went and said, oh, well, that build guide told me to use these abilities, so I guess I better go put those on my bar. Now, some stuff that I do in games does end up being the meta. In fact, in ESO, I had a couple builds that I had come up with that I later discovered were the actual meta. And, you know, I had a guild member talk to me about it because he knows how I feel about the meta and everything. And he would talk to me and say, like, well, you're not chasing the meta when you came up with that thing on your own. Like, you didn't chase the meta, you discovered a combination, and then it ended up being the meta. But that's, you know, you're not chasing the meta. And I forget what the combination was now at this point because it was a long time ago. But, you know, sometimes the playstyle that appeals to me does end up being the meta. I can think of a few games that I've played where, you know, my preferred class or race or whatever, or playstyle was the quote-unquote meta, the cheesy, broken version. So that's not to say that I haven't and won't play a meta, but I don't get the appeal of going online and finding what somebody else told you to do and then doing that just because that's what they said. And I say that as somebody who just uploaded a build video on YouTube yesterday. So I'm not, the irony isn't lost on me. Although that's why I also emphasize on my build video that it's not a build guide. It's not telling you this is what you should do, it's telling you this is what I'm doing. Kind of talking about that, you know, kind of a video game journal type of thing. You know, I'm keeping documentation for myself, for my friends, and for anybody else who might want to be interested about what it is that I'm doing. But I don't know. I do get the appeal of going to a build guide to learn more about the game, and I've done that. Not necessarily like how should I build my character, but how do certain things work? How do certain skills work? How does certain gear work? How do these certain combinations of abilities and stuff work together? And then making the decision for myself that, yeah, you know what, I actually do want to do that, or no, I'm not going to do that. That makes sense to me. And that's where I think build guides are very helpful, because they can be very educational into how the game works. But I've never really understood just, you know, oh, tell me how to build my character. To me, in an RPG, that's the fun of an RPG, is deciding what my character is going to be and making him the best that he can be at that. It doesn't matter if it's a competitive game like Diablo, or if it's a single-player story game like, you know, Elder Scrolls or Cyberpunk or something like that. To me, that is the appeal of an RPG. In fact, that's why Elder Scrolls are my favorite games of all time, because of the absolute freedom you have to put together whatever set of skills you want, with no restriction, and build your character however it is that you see fit. And I do love Diablo for that too. It doesn't necessarily have the same kind of freedom of an Elder Scrolls or something, but it does have lots of creative freedom in how you build your characters. And I just feel that you're selling the game short by not actually taking advantage of that freedom. But ultimately, it's up to each person to decide what's fun for them. And whether that fun is coming up with their own ideas on how to make a build, or, you know, maybe what's fun for them is trying to just be the super maxed out, the absolute best character they can be, and going on the internet to YouTube to do it. And you know what? More power to people who want to do that. I don't agree with that gameplay philosophy, but I don't my understanding or agreement is not required for somebody else's enjoyment or to justify why they play the way they do. So ultimately, I guess that's the flip side, is doesn't bother me in any way, so. Have I filled up the murmuring orbs? I sure have. Right, where was that chest? I found it earlier, and now I seem to have lost it.
I need time to do that.
Although at the end of the day, and this kind of repeats what I was talking about last night, I guess my biggest problem with the meta isn't so much that people play it, because people are going to do what they want to do, and there's always going to be a meta, and there's always going to be somebody who wants to seek it out. That's just the nature of the beast. I think it's more along the problem is more with the dialogue within these gaming communities, whether it's from content creators or whether it's from members of the community themselves who say things like, only the meta is viable. And it might be arguing semantics, but words count. And when you're saying things like viability, you know, viability doesn't mean that it's the best way to do something. Viable means that it's a way to do something. And so
I'm not ready yet.
my builds, my characters are all viable. Are they the best? No. Are there better builds out there than mine for pure performance? Yes. For me, this is my favorite build because for me it's the funnest. But if you're just looking at pure performance, yes, there's absolutely better builds out there than mine, and always will be. But they are still viable. There isn't a piece of content in Diablo 4 yet that I have not been able to do. Sometimes it takes me a little while to level up or get a little bit better gear or something, but I have been able to do every single level of Nightmare Dungeons that I have set out to do at this point. there is not a single level yet that I have attempted that I haven't been able to beat in some capacity. Now, level 37, or tier 37, which is the most recent one that I just did, it took me a little bit. I was failing 37s there for a little bit, but I have since beat it, and I did 2 last night. So, my build is viable. It's doing the content. And at my level at, what am I, 82? Are there level 82s out there that can do higher than tier 37? Sure. But I'm still able to clear content that's like, what was it, 7, 8 levels ahead of me. I feel that's pretty viable to me when I can beat something that's that far ahead of me. And I think that's my biggest problem with it. It's not so much that people are meta chasing or anything like that. It's just the way I hear it talked about within these communities.